I nearly died, and I'm terrified of going back to where we were.
I met Sohail 4 months ago. He'd spent more than a month in an induced coma. He woke to find he had survived COVID-19, but the disease had killed his mum.
Are you holding up?
Holding up.
He tells me the government failed to protect the country before, and unless restrictions are imposed, he's terrified the same thing will happen again.
If they had got it right from the very beginning, we wouldn't have ended up at this stage. They still need to introduce stricter measures. Even though I'm in the recovery stages of, COVID-19, there's nothing saying that, I can't contract it again. And that is what scares me.
Some of the country's leading scientists agree with Sohail. Professor John Edmonds is a member of SAGE, the scientific panel that advises the government. He says the new measures have not gone far enough.
I think politicians are timid, so they're going to wait for it to get bad before they take the necessary action. The government has announced some measures. I'm not sure they're going to be sufficient to slow the growth significantly.
An effective testing system was supposed to prevent any need for further lockdowns. And until we have one, more restrictions, it's argued, must be imposed.
The clever thing to do now is to act firmly and quickly. Any delay in implementing them will cost more cases, and perhaps go further with potentially closing the pubs and reducing the legal six down to a smaller number.
But the scientific community is polarised. Some think lockdowns are simply not a sustainable long-term solution.
It would be perfectly reasonable to err on the side of caution if that erring didn't come with some really rather extraordinary costs to the rest of the population who are not vulnerable. So, unfortunately, because the costs of lockdown are so high, we have to consider the probability of this worst-case scenario.
When Sohail was discharged from hospital, he and the rest of the country would have hoped the worst was behind us. But now, with a possible second surge, the government faces one of its greatest challenges: balancing lives with livelihoods. Ashish Joshi, Sky News.